session of cognitive behavior therapies. I myself Shaista Malik from St. Joseph College of Women's Autonomous, Visakhapatnam. So this is the cognitive behavior therapies module 3. Today we have to discuss about the lesson 2, that is the foundations of cognitive behavior therapy. So let's discuss foundations of cognitive behavior therapy. There are two main strategies that we use in cognitive behavior therapy to help you feel better. One is to change your thinking and another is to change your behavior. That is, if you are feeling anxiousness, stressed or overwhelmed, that is the feeling. So, feeling convert into thoughts, thoughts convert into behavior. So, thought will be, if you are anxious and in stress, probably you will argue with your partner. And I'll make a mistake. Later on, you realize that, okay, I'll make a mistake, I'll get fired, or I'll never be successful. These behaviors or these consequences you can be faced on the basis of the thoughts and the exposure of the situations. So CBT is based on a simple but powerful idea. What we think affects how we feel and how we act. The relationship forms the backbone of the CBT model, which we will now explore. Let us first understand what is the CBT model. CBT describes human experiences using a 5-component model. I already discussed in lesson 1, but we will get a look on situation, what happened, what triggers the reaction on. Thoughts, what we went through the person's mind. Emotions, how did the person feel emotionally? Behavior, what did they do in response? And the physical consequences will be faced by ultimately by your body. So this model shows that our thoughts are the driving force behind our emotional and behavior responses. Two people may experience the same situation but react very differently depend upon the thought pattern. That is called pessimist and optimist. For example, if a student fails a test, one person might think I'm not good enough, leading to sadness and withdrawal from studying. Another might think I need to prepare better next time, leading to motivation and resilience. Same situation, different thoughts, different outcomes. Let us discuss the purpose of the CBT. What are the goals of the CBT? By doing this, CBT reduces emotional distress and encourage healthy behavior patterns. So what are the core principles of CBT and how we have to apply? Let us discuss. Recognize unhelpful thoughts, challenge and reframe them, and replace them with more balanced and realistic perspective. Likewise, you prepare an exam very well, but ultimately you are not able to qualify that exams. The consequences you will face, that is, I am a failure. How much I tried, I will never gonna succeed. Or else you can thought in that way that okay, might be I did not prepare well. I have to work hard again. I will change my perspective. I will change my preparation, and next time definitely I will do better. So the next, you can do what? You can change your pattern of preparing about exams so that you can do better. In this slide, Beck explained that how these negative self-schemas develop and change your thought pattern. They possess a set of beliefs and expectations about themselves that are essentially negative and pessimistic. So the person who is prone to depression will develop a negative schema about every encounter in their life. So encounter can be many things like a death of a parent, sibling, school bullying, neglect, abuse, love breakup. It can be many things. Now we have to understand what is the CBT model and how it explains our situation, thoughts, emotions, behavior, and consequences are connected with each other. Let us break down. This is the event or circumstance a person faces, basically the situation. So it can be something small or a major thing. For example, if someone sees their teacher walking without greeting them, one student may think, "Ma'am is absent with me," while another may think, "She must be busy." You can see how your thought pattern changes your emotions. The student who thought that "Ma'am is absent with me" might be a pessimist. That's why their thought pattern is more on negative side. While the other may think "she must be busy" is more on pessimist, optimist side. That's why their thought pattern is more rationalized one. So thought influence emotions. Negative thought usually bring negative emotions such as fear, sadness, anger. Our emotions guide how we act. If a person feels anxious, they may avoid situations, stay silent, or behave differently than usual. This is the result of the behavior. Avoidance may bring temporary relief, but in the long run, it worsens fear and decreases confidence. Together, these five components form the backbone of cognitive therapy and cognitive behavior therapy. If it will be up to your thought pattern, that is the situation, emotions, and your thoughts, then it will come under cognitive model. But when your behavior is attached with your thought pattern, then it will come under cognitive behavior model. Now we have to move forward. What are the different techniques we are using in cognitive behavior therapy? So in this slide, if you are seeing whatever I have explained till, it's clearly mentioned how situation happenings, how you are perceiving them, how they are affecting your beliefs, and how they are guiding your behavior. And ultimately, you have to face the consequences of your behavior. So we'll move towards the next slide. How can we know about our awareness of negative thoughts? In this slide, you can clearly see that there is a table in which thought 1, thought 2, thought 3 is given. So when you are working in a therapist setting with a client, how you have to guide a patient to record their negative pattern of thoughts. Likewise, if they encountered any negative thoughts at their home, how can they take a note of those thoughts? What were you doing at the time of the thought? Thought 1 will be what the patient was doing at the time of the negative thought. In thought 2, they have to mention what were the other thoughts at that time they were facing or they were thinking. And in the thought 3, they have to mention that what was the intensity of negative thought on a scale of 1 to 5. Thus, why CBT works? CBT is powerful because it is evidence-based, that is proven by the research. Collaborating means it is collaborating with your thought pattern and your behavior pattern. Skill building, it teaches you to think in a more rationalized way, that is building your skills to change your thought pattern. Focus on present experiences. Present experiences means whatever the present thinking, whatever the present thoughts you are going through, it focuses upon that. Practical and solution oriented. It teaches individual to become their own therapist, empowering them to manage future challenges and works independently. The foundation of CBT lies in understanding the connection between situations, thoughts, behaviors, emotions, and physical responses. If we move in hierarchy, but first is start with the situation, then it comes to the thought, then emotions, then behavior, and physical responses. by modifying unhelpful thoughts and behavior through techniques like thought challenging, behavior activation, exposure, and cognitive restructuring. CBT help individuals change their thought pattern and help them to restructure their cognitive skills. And CBT helps individuals develop more healthier view of pattern of living. So CBT is not just a therapy but a scientifically grounded skill set that helps people handle life stresses. Cognitive restructuring is a core technique used in cognitive behavior therapy. It refers to the process of identifying, challenging, and replacing negative, irrational, or unhelpful thoughts with more balanced, realistic, normal, and adaptive thoughts pattern. So, the basic idea is it's not the situation that upsets us, but how we think and how we interpret that situation that affects us. Cognitive restructuring helps individuals understand the connection between thoughts, emotions, and behavior and teaches them to change harmful thinking patterns to improve emotional well-being. In this slide, you can see how cognitive therapy and cognitive behavior therapy merging and changing your cognitive restructuring pattern. So in next slide, you can see how you can record your thoughts and core beliefs. So this is how you can record your thoughts, like a thought 1, what is the intensity of the thought, at what time and date you experience that thought, and what are the core beliefs behind why you were experiencing those thoughts. Then you can reframe those thoughts to get know more about what are the causes that's creating your problem to change in a negative way, and what are the problems and beliefs and the core beliefs contributing in distress. About Albert Ellis and Aaron Beck pioneered the second wave of behavior therapies with cognitive behavior therapies. So we are discussing little about that is what is cognitive model. It states that people are more negatively affected by their automatic thought and pattern of thought about negative events and the event themselves. So as well, situations can create automatic physiological reactions like an increase in heart rate, perspiration, or blood pressure that can be interpreted cognitively as an awareness of perceived danger, where there is in reality no threat at all. So cognitive filters are a kind of metamorphical mental shorthand that we develop over the years of experience. Unfortunately, cognitive filters tend to create cognitive distortions that require therapy to correct. So basically, cognitive behavior therapy itself is a kind of psychotherapy sometimes called talking therapy. It explores how your cognition, thoughts, values, attitudes, and beliefs affects your emotion and behavior. So cognitive behavior therapy is based on the concept that emotions and behavior results primarily, though not exclusively, from cognitive processes, and that is the possible human beings to modify such processes to achieve different ways of feeling and behaving. So this is based on empirical research, that is the evidence-based research. First wave CBT was used in 1940s as a short-term treatment for cases of depression and severe anxiety which were endemic in veterans returning from World War II. So your thoughts, feelings and behavior, how affecting your thought pattern and how they are diverting you to think more negatively. So let us discuss in next slide that how this circle or how this pattern runs. So CBT is an idea that how we think cognition, how we feel emotion, and how we act is the behavior. How can we change these feelings and emotions? We can change these feelings and emotions by cognitive restructuring. So this is a broader process of identifying core beliefs, analyzing thinking errors, and reshaping thought patterns over time. Repeated restructuring leads to deep and lasting cognitive change. We are also doing homework assignments to know more about their cognitive triad or cognitive negative thinking pattern. So CBT is not limited to therapy sessions only. When we are dealing with a client in a therapeutic situation, client practice techniques through structured homework, thought record, activity scheduling, exposure plans, logs, and self-monitoring tasks. I already explained you each and every mentioned thing in previous lesson by showing some slides or verbally also. So this is the end of this session. We will meet in the lesson 3, that is the how different types of cognitive therapies we are using in today's life and on what core principles these cognitive therapies are made of. And in next coming lesson, we will also discuss how we are using these different types of cognitive behavior therapies in treating different kind of disorders. So let's wrap the sessions here now. Take care and bye guys.